The genesis of BMW Z car, the Z1. An unusual sight on the roads in the UK. Developed and started to be sold in the very late 80s. I think 89 was the first one to come along. It was designed by BMW by a Dutch designer called Harm Lagaay, excuse the pronunciation. Initially went to work for Porsche, Ford in Cologne, then moved to BMW, where he was the lead designer for BMW's first Z car, the Z1. Now, I can't say that I've spent a great deal of time with the Z. I've seen a couple of car shows, but I've certainly never had the opportunity to drive one, so I'm really excited about this today. Personally, I think they're a fabulous looking thing. I think they're a bit Marmite. Some people love them. They're very quirky, but they've got some cool design features. The most obvious one being the door that disappears into the pillar. It's a car that's almost entirely made of plastic, so it's extremely light, and was a massive departure from BMW's otherwise sort of fairly safe and sophisticated shark nose design. Still got the kind of marine theme, I suppose you could say. I think it's great. Let's have a wander around and take it for a drive. So design cues wise, you've got these lovely flat lights, remaining with the BMW snout. As I put in one of my earlier videos, I think it was the E3, BMW shareholders and directors have gone to war over the snout. It has been a constant design feature of these cars for a long time. It's a sleek design, all convertibles. You've got obviously the doors. I really like the interior, this kind of two-tone suede leather, and the steering wheel. The gauge design sort of semi-reminiscent of the slightly older cars. You know, they had actually gone for a fairly sporty setup on this, and possibly a little bit of Harm's early time at Porsche creeping in there with the collection of round tiles. We've had this car here for a little while now, mostly been doing service work to it, repairing and replacing some of the plastic wheel arch panels, and the one consistent comment has been that it's great fun to get in and out of. So let's have a go. How do you put the seat back? Okie dokie. Right, finally in. Let's get it going, take it for a drive. Right, so here we are in the Z. Probably not the ideal cockpit for filming a video. Poor old Pete's pressed into the corner over there, but we'll do our best for you. I really like the dash layout. I think it's really cool. I like this kind of ergonomic curve here. The dials really do make you feel like you're driving something that's a bit more sporty. I've been driving left-hand drive cars all week. So I've been putting some test miles on a bi-turbo and in fact an E30 M3. So I'm pretty comfortable with driving the left-hand drive cars now. For a convertible, it actually seems pretty quiet. Unlike most of BMW's cars from this era, the dash is covered in leather. So I guess as a classic, there's quite a nice touch. Apart from just looking slightly more upmarket and interesting, no cracked dash to worry about. I like this kind of modernist center console. I think this is a much nicer design than the E30, which, to be honest, I'm glad to see. I'm glad they just didn't try and, basically lift the interior out of the E30 and put it in here. I know I've just said it, but I absolutely love the dials. The round dials kind of does make it feel like more of a sporty car. It's got a 5-speed ZF transmission in it. The mirrors are kind of also an interesting design. They kind of hang partway up the pillar, but they're very functional, very as well as having a nice form. They do actually, despite having a slightly motorcycle-esque look about them, they work extremely well as mirrors. To drive, I guess it feels reasonably like an E30. This one's only done 46,000 miles.
so it does feel really, really tight actually. One thing I forgot to say when we were doing the walk around is I really like the exhaust design. Got those twin pipes that come up at the back. The center, the silencer runs across the back. It looks like it's made of stainless. Do you think it's made of stainless?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's an original BMW system or not. It somehow looks slightly custom-y, but the rest of it looks really standard. So possible that that's just how they were. Yeah, it's got nice feel in the steering. Much nicer, I would say, than a lot of E30s have that sort of amount of play in them. But this feels really tight, really responsive. Yeah, it's a really interesting place to be. I really do like the interior, the door panels. I like the way that you step over the sills covered in leather. Everything feels quite nice to the touch. Have just spotted you've got the standard era BMW ashtray and cigar lighter console, but other than that, and perhaps the vent rollers, it does all appear to be reasonably bespoke. I like it. It certainly gets some looks. I mean, today is an absolutely awful day weather-wise, but at the weekend we had a gathering for the BMW Car Club E389 at Registers, and we had this on display, and it got a lot of interest. Certainly, if you're looking for a convertible, if you're looking for a sort of more unusual car to add to your collection, then I would rate this. I think it's cool. It's got a lot of character. Unfortunately, the person in the Polo in front of me is somewhat capping my ability to test the handling and what have you, but it makes a nice noise. Gear shift's nice, steering feels good, as I said. Yeah, it's a cool car, a very cool car.
So, often accused of being an E30 in a pretty dress, let's lay some of that to rest. It is powered by an M20 B25 engine, as you'd find in a 325i or early M20 powered 525i E34s. It runs Motronic 1.3, and certainly the front suspension, track assembly, steering is all borrowed from an E30. However, the kind of really cool thing that maybe a lot of people don't realise about this car is it's extremely light. As you can see, the bonnet is not made of steel. Neither are the wings. In fact, the only part of the underside of the car, you've got a sort of a metal structure where the front suspension's bolted up, and then in front of it, you've got these, in front and behind, you've got these plastic, effectively wheel arch liners. So a great deal of the car, you've got the rigidity of the steel structure, but as much as possible, they've carved off the steel and replaced it with plastic paneling. So as a Classic, it's fabulous because they don't really rust, and they're extremely light. So the M20 B25 power to weight ratio makes this a nippy thing. Right, we found ourselves a quiet piece of road and we're off. Lovely straight six, sounding fantastic as ever. Does make a nice noise, this car. Handles well, in my opinion, or at least as well as you would expect for something of this size and weight. You can definitely feel the difference in weight. You know, I think you have to work it quite hard to get the benefit of it, but it does reward when you push it. Yeah, I'm liking it. I suppose the question is, could you live with one? Yeah, my first trip out on a Z1, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I think it's a super cool car, really ergonomic, a really interesting design. People have accused it of being E30 in a pretty dress, but let's be honest, who doesn't love an E30 and who doesn't love a pretty dress? It's a fabulous dress. To me, this is a connoisseurial choice. You're never going to be without someone to talk to at a classic car show if you rock up in a Z. It handles well, it stops well. Like most Motronic cars, you've got to wind it up to get the power going, but it's certainly got enough power to be fun. We've done some work on this car, but it is for sale through a company in Tewkesbury called Retrosect. If you're interested, I would certainly suggest that this is an excellent one to start with. Give Ben a call, have a chat, and find out a bit more about the car. Slow mileage, but other than that, I don't know a great deal about its history. We've spent some time underneath it, and it seems to be a nice one. I think it's a great car. Could I live with it, which was the question I posed earlier? Absolutely. It's